Straight to the IRL channel. Good. Lovely. It's all set up. Oh.
The sun's a bit bright.
Okay, here we go. Start of the stream. Sorry for the wait, guys, but welcome. This is IRL round 2 at the British Grand Prix with myself, Lordy MK, back for another week here in the lovely, I want to say sunshine of England, even though we don't get it a lot. But I am joined again, obviously, by Lewis Millam, as you can probably hear in the background as well, just setting up his car. And also I'm joined by Paco Suarez, which is our special guest or driver guest of the week. So just to introduce yourself, guys. Obviously, here's Lewis and here's Paco as well.
Afternoon.
Anything to say, Lewis? How are you?
All right, ready for another round.
Ready for another
especially
round.
on this track, a good track.
Good. I know you'll be joining me in the box this time, in the commentary box, not actually on the racetrack, so we'll actually get some insight into some driving tactics from Lewis Millam. Also, we have Paco Suarez. Are you here with us? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. How are you? You all right? I know you had a bit of a mishap with the hand today.
Yeah, let's say I'm not a guy who should do sports, I'm like Dembele,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I hope your hand's okay. I know you will be racing this afternoon, so hopefully it won't impede any of your racing. But first things first, obviously we are here in Britain for the Silverstone GP. What are your thoughts on Silverstone, Paco? Is it a good track for you? I know it is a very wheel-based track as well, but is it a good track for you? How do you feel about Silverstone?
Well, it's a track I generally liked. I know what gears to put in and stuff, but I have to say, I haven't raced that much in the game for a long time. Portimao was the first time in 3 months approximately, so it was a tough experience. Hopefully here, the fact I know the track better and I like it will help a little bit.
Yeah, no, like you say, we will get onto Portimao last week soon enough after we talk about Silverstone. But yeah, I know it was a rough encounter for yourself. Obviously, in Portimao, I know that you had a bit of a mishap with a few incidents with a few drivers and also had a few spins on your own. Are you looking to rectify that here at Silverstone, or are you just looking for a nice quiet race just to get on with it?
Well, I don't have any expectations for the race. I just want to get it done, try to learn as much as possible and get back to my pace. Last time I didn't do a decent quali and being in the middle of the field was a bit of a mayhem. So for this race, at least, just take it like more calmly in the first laps and stuff, and just try to get my pace back as the race goes on.
Yeah, I think that is the best thing. I know I did my first F1 session just in a few practice lobbies earlier today, and it was it was stressful. Just feeling so slow and feeling so rusty is never a good feeling, and you always want to get back to obviously where you came from in terms of pace wise as well. But yeah, I know also in Portimao, how was qualifying for you? Because I don't believe you had the best qualifying last week either. So is qualifying maybe an area you want to improve on, or is it just the race pace?
I mean, I didn't have much time to practice for Portimao. Like, I only practiced for an hour or so, and taking into account I didn't race for a long time. It was like being blinded, you know, full blinded actually. So I tried my best. I was actually close to my teammate, although it's not an insult, neither offensive jokes, but I mean, I would like to be much ahead of Ross. And on Portimao was 1/10 behind. So then the race, it was just, I couldn't do anything about it. I mean, I was just involved in incidents I don't consider myself that I can be blamed of. So here, the quali, I don't know. I'm doing some laps now. I still don't find the setup. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable with the setup. Hopefully I'll find, you know, something that helps me to feel stable and stuff. And hopefully for quali, I'm a bit competitive at least.
Yeah, exactly. I think the aim is always to beat the teammate. It's always the secondary goal. I believe for myself as well. You know, normally you know where you stand in terms of pace, but it is always nice to be the top driver in the team. Just going on to Ross actually, who's joined the practice session for a few laps going around the track. I was quite impressed with him. I thought he had a very strong race last weekend in Portimao. I thought he had a bit of an incident with Kevin, which I thought was a bit unnecessary from Kevin's point of view. That's just my opinion. It was just hard racing. There's no incidents or penalties involved at all. But I think it did compromise Ross's race slightly. But I think he will be hoping to build on that. I know there has been a bit of controversy around him with obviously traction and ABS. It is difficult obviously to run these assists off, and I would never force anybody to run these assists off because it can be very complicated. But Ross, I believe, scored, I believe it was 9th or 10th last weekend, so he's got a few points on your packer. So hopefully, from your point of view, you can beat him here at Silverstone and try and take back that first driver slot. But we will move on. Stay with us, Paco. We'll keep interviewing you while we talk about the track. But I've been watching Millum go around for a few laps, getting his eye in. And I do want to talk about the actual Silverstone circuit, as he does come through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel as well. So, Millum, how's the track feeling out there? I know it's nice and sunny. So it's a lot of grip and a lot of traction. Tyres nice and warm up. You think you can give us a rundown of the lap?
Yeah, can do. Start the next lap, give a nice run down. It's a very difficult track, especially on traction. Very easy to lose it and put it in the wall in certain areas. You know, I famously lost it at the start once on the grid. Didn't even make turn one in PSGL once. It's like it's cursed, this track for me. So here we go then. Cross the line into turn one. It should be flat majority of the time, but obviously you've got to be careful with the setups. It can slide out into this right, which you can go quite deep into. Oh, fucking hell. And then a fast flick left. It's very slow on the traction out of here because it's still curving as you get on the power, so you've got to make sure you don't spin out of there. Down the straight, coming into Luffield, it's a later apex, so you've got to turn in slightly later so you're not too tight, because otherwise it will force you out wide on the exit. Into the hairpin, you go slightly deep and come back in for a straighter exit. You can double upshift sometimes, people prefer it. Now onto the old start straight, a very famous straight, where they used to start into Cox. You know, a lot of people will struggle for it, I'd imagine. You know, you can lose the rear quite easily. You know, you can get invalid quite easily on the exit. That was a bit rubbish for me there. Maggots and Beckett's, flat for the first two, downshift twice for the left and once for the right. And you throw the car back out on the outside. Onto the Hamilton straight, I believe it's now called, is that right? Is that what it's called?
I believe so, yeah.
And then into Stowe. You know, a long right-hander, another late apex, easy to get invalids on the outside here as well. You know, people push the limits. And then into, is it the first chicane? I think it's the first chicane. into the Vale chicane, a very, traction heavy spot on the exit there, very easy to lose the rate. And there's your lap of Britain, Silverstone.
Yeah, it looked quite good from yourself, nice and clean. I know you had a bit of a moment going into turn 3 and 4. But like I say, this track, it is challenging, especially for pad users. I think pad users will really feel the quick change of direction is quite difficult. Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel is the section through there is very, very difficult, especially on a controller. Obviously, there is some heavy traction zones as well, like Millum discussed. He's talking about the chicane and also the final corner. You've got to be really careful on throttle input. Don't want to be overheating the tyres. Don't want to be full throttling it too early because you will see massive amounts of understeer and maybe even oversteer if you try and correct it. So yeah, Silverstone, very challenging track. Is there any particular corner, Lewis, that not you're fearful of, but I'd say you'd give the drivers a bit of a tip, say watch out for this corner?
That one right there, cops. Just, if you feel a bit nervous going through it, or, your car's not quite comfortable for it, just go careful, especially in the race. It's not worth pushing through there and losing the rear and putting it in the wall or spinning or whatever, even on your quali lap as well. You can sometimes just a little lift off just gets you through the corner and you don't lose too much time, but obviously it just depends on your setup and how confident you are with flicking it in. But yeah, it's a good track. Slipstream is key, I'd say, definitely around here.
I think Silverstone's one of the tracks where if you hook it up, you really do feel the benefits. You feel the time gained. And like you say, through cops, if you are brave enough and maybe even stupid enough to go full throttle through there, then you are going to gain time. And that is where, some of the top tier drivers, especially in IRL, maybe in other leagues, really do find the pace and extract it. Obviously, there are a few sections, as you see, turn 3 and 4, very traction heavy also. They are key moments in the lap where you carry your momentum. So especially out of turn 4 into turn 5, the left-hand kink onto the straight, it's really key to maintain the momentum through the corners. If you're going to bog down or if you've messed up a gear shift, I remember I did it in the practice session, I believe 2 sessions ago. I just was slightly late on the upshift into 4th, and you felt obviously the limiter hit, and then obviously it was the car bogged down, and you just felt the momentum loss all the way through the straight and then carrying on for the rest of the lap as well. So it is quite difficult. Just moving back to Paco, I know he's still listening and waiting patiently, bless him, in the background. Is there any particular section of the track? I know we've discussed cops, Paco, but is there any section that you maybe give tips to people, or maybe say just be careful of, or you love a section of this track? Is there anything that you like about it?
I mean, probably if I gave tips to people, they would crash immediately. But if, I don't know, like, probably I'll say that Maggott and Beckett's probably it's one of the best part of the tracks of the track, I think. And although it might seem difficult, like to get it right at the exit, I think it's really crucial because we've seen in different races how some people who maybe like full send it and they don't focus as much on the exit, and then they get overtaken by the car behind, so if I have to give a tip to anyone or an advice is that probably in the race they focus on how they approach that section of the track, trying to focus more on the exit rather than the going through it. I don't know how to explain it, but I try my best.
No, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Try and carry the momentum, try and keep the speed going through the corners instead of obviously going fast in and slow out. Everyone says slow in, fast out's the best way to go. I agree to some extent, but I think through Silverstone, it's maintaining the pace for a lot of corners. If you can carry the speed and carry the momentum around this track, you're really going to go far. It's superb track to get right. I think if you are good enough or gifted enough to be good at Silverstone, it is a blessing. It can be your best friend, it can be your worst enemy. I know personally from my standpoint, I've never been good at my home Grand Prix, which is kind of sad. I preferred the old Silverstone. You old people out there like myself would probably remember the old Silverstone before it was all renovated and all modernised, where you actually went under the bridge. That was my favourite section of the track, and they got rid of it. So thank you, whoever has demolished that. Thank you very much. But going back to the modern track, I don't dislike the track as a whole. I think it's got some very good sections, as Paco said, Maggots and Beckett's. Cops, as much as it is quite finicky on the F1 games, is a very, very lovely corner. And it's, like I say, when you get it right, it's beautiful. but it's also got some sections which I don't like, and you know, the last chicane and the final corner has to take the cake for some of, I don't know, this is just my opinion here, we'll go a bit opinion based, but I think it has to be some of the worst corners on any track. I think it shares the cake with Spain. I don't know how you guys feel, Millum, about the chicane here, but I really do dislike it. It's not fun at all.
Yeah, it's very traction dependent. It's very, you know, awkward, easy to lose it, and never been a massive fan of it. To be honest, yeah, anything but that I'd appreciate from the track developers. It's just what we've been given.
Is it like I say, whoever's modernised the track's done a pretty good job. I just think the last chicane in particular is the one where I don't know if I struggle personally. That's probably why I have a bit of an agenda against it. But just the whole section as a whole, the section as a whole, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel nice. You know, you try and carry the momentum through the corners, and it's not really feeling the best. And it kind of can ruin your lap. It's make or break, especially the last section. Traction is key going through that corner. You get a lot of understeer onto the curbing on the left-hand side. Try and avoid the curbing if possible. I think touching maybe 3 wheels with the black and white curbs, not 2 wheels, 2 wheels with the black and white curbs, not too bad, but try and avoid it as much as possible, then you can carry the speed because you'll get more traction on the actual tarmac. But yeah, as you can see, is Millum setting fastest laps after fastest laps. I think the qualifying times here, you're not too far off actually, Millum, in the practice sessions. I think you'd probably be looking for low 27s to be competitive, maybe in the 26s for a few drivers as well. As you see, as Millum says, right on cue.
Done. Easy done.
Nice and easy to lose it at Cops. So we've got Ross here as well. Where is Ross? Let's see what Ross is doing.
Yeah, for quality probably. I know I personally was set in mid 26s, but that's, I'd imagine, more of the front running pace. Yeah, anywhere between mid 26s to a very low 27 is realistically is what you should be looking for, especially if you want to be in that top 10. I'd imagine that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to go for obviously the standings as well. We have a reserve driver actually leading the way in Taze Leroy, who I believe has been given a full-time seat now for his performance and obviously for his commitment to the leagues and stuff. He was like high reserve anyway. I will just double check that for you just to make sure. But he was very impressive at Portimao. I think even you said yourself, Millum, that you could have kept with the front runners, which was, you know, Alfie, Bugatti, Kai, and also Taze. But I think Taze just had that edge on everyone. He was just that slight bit quicker. And I think if it wasn't for mishaps happening with certain drivers, I think it was Hamrick he had a collision with last week, where it actually cost him in the pit stops. He would have been flying, probably wouldn't have won the race by about 10 seconds. So he is probably the man to look out for again, especially around Silverstone. It's another wheel track. It's it favours him very nicely, so he would probably be the man to look out for. Other people struggling in sessions as we're going down the table. We've got Lewis Curtis currently in 6th position, and we've also got Sondre, his teammates, are both Ferraris. So Sondre's in 5th and Lewis Curtis is in 6th. Lewis had a massive incident actually coming out of, I believe it was turn 4 or turn 5 in Portimao, where he actually lost it and he was in the battle for 3rd place. So Lewis Curtis, known for bottling it quite a few times, made a bit of a crucial error which cost him a lot. I believe it gifted you 4th place as well, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
So, been having a look at the practice sessions. I know they're doing a bit of practice now before obviously the race starts and obviously quali. Not been too impressed, if I'm being honest with you. I think Sondre in particular, I expect a lot more from Sondre. I think even I beat him in the qualifying session. Like I say, I don't think it was as true showing a pace. I think a lot of people leave it on the table until actual qualifying. But I believe in one of the sessions I actually did beat Sondre in the qualifying, which is, if I was him, I'd be a bit shocked. You know, when a driver who hasn't raced as much and a driver who, you know, has just come back to the game and he's beating you in quali and he's quite competitive times as well, I'd be slightly worried. But knowing Sondre, he is normally faster in the race anyway. Hopefully there's no incidents or mishaps like last time out. I believe he had an incident with Cam. So hopefully Sondre can get back onto form and can really show us what he can do. But as the table stands, we'll refresh all the viewers obviously at home as well, just to go through the standings, see where people are at. We've got Lee Kelly, Taze Leroy, as you know him. He's currently first with 28 points because he did get the fastest lap as well. So obviously fastest lap gets you an extra point, and then obviously you've got qualifying. If you qualify in pole, you get an extra 2 points as well. I believe Jared discussed this last week. You've got Alfioli, also known as Bugatti. He's currently in second place on 18. You've got Kieran, the lovely Williams driver. He is currently in P3. We've got Mr. Millam himself, who's not actually participating in this race. He's currently sitting in fourth in the championship. Then followed by the two Ferraris, as we've mentioned, of Sondre and then Lewis. And then in seventh place, we have Cameron. A lot of potential with Cam. But he's on the cusp. I'd say with Lewis and Sondre as well, he's a bit of a bold job. Like, he's got the potential to be up there every single race, fighting for podiums and fighting for wins. But he just doesn't seem to find the extra pace. And then when he doesn't find the extra pace, he tries pushing a bit harder to get the extra pace and then ends up losing it and actually costing himself a lot of points in the races. So hopefully he can keep his nose clean, he can get his head down, and he can perform today here at Silverstone as well. And just to round up the top 10, we've got Brian Glover in 8th position. Not too bad from him. Jared Fosbury picking up 9th. In the first race. He had quite a solid race in the Mercedes, apart from a spin on the last lap. And then you've got Ross Denham, who's currently in our session in the Haas, with the final point. So a lot to be paid for in the start of the season. I think ranking-wise, in terms of tiers, I think I wasn't surprised to see the people at the top. I think a lot of people had Lewis Curtis obviously fighting the top guys, maybe for the title, so he's got a lot to prove here at Silverstone as well. But yeah, it's looking pretty feisty. I think AlphaTauri are leading the way. That's Cameron and Alfie. They are leading the way in the constructors. We've got Ferrari duo of Sondre and Lewis, who are second. We've also got Kevin and Bran, who are in third place, but a massive drop-off. So we've got AlphaTauri with 24. We've got Ferrari with 18. And then we go down to 4 points with the Aston Martin duo. Then we've got Jared Fosbury and Matt Romano. Obviously, Jared carrying the team with the sole 2 points. And then, like you say, Paco, your team is there. So you've got Haas in 5th place, but Ross does have the individual points. So hopefully you'd be looking to build on that.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, definitely I feel hopeful. I think if I get the pace back, I think I can help that team. But at the moment, let's not get too ahead of myself.
Yeah, no, Mr. Positive. You got to be optimistic. You got to be positive. If you're going into every race thinking you're going to crash, then you've got to change your mindset. You've got to really be in the zone, be focused, and then you can see what these guys can do. We are approaching the halfway mark in the practice session, so not too far away from qualifying starting. I believe we've got another about 15 minutes until qualifying starts. We've been through, obviously, the track guide. We've had some personal talks with, obviously, you, Paco, as well. I was looking to get Cameron involved in the session. I'd like him to join at some point, but until then, I'll have a bit of an intermission, give these guys a bit of a break and have a sit down. Obviously, you can have a look at Lewis going round if you want, but I think if I pause the broadcast, it actually will turn it off. So we'll be back in like 5 minutes. Just going to have a quick refreshment, then we'll have a quick warm-up for the race, and then we'll be straight into quali. So yeah, catch you guys in about 5 minutes. go. All right. Welcome back, guys. Had a bit of an intermission, getting a few drinks, getting a few snacks. But we've also been joined by another driver. I did say I wanted him in for a bit of a chat, and he has answered my prayers. Say hello to everyone, Cam.
Hi.
How are you feeling anyway? Obviously, we're at Silverstone. I've said it numerous times. Even the stream has it saying that it's Britain round 2, so everybody knows where we are. What are your thoughts on Silverstone anyway? We've had Paco talk about it and obviously Millum as well, but I'd like to get your take on the track.
I think it's a nice track. Obviously, it's a bit different compared to a few games ago. They have tweaked it a bit, so it is nice. It's nice and flowing. I wouldn't say it's a difficult track, but it's one that can catch you out.
Yeah, we were going through obviously corner types and favourite track corners, and obviously corners to watch out for. Cops came up a few times. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, if you're running a very eggy setup, then Cops is definitely a corner to look out for.
But what's your most difficult corner on the track? What would you say is the one that really catches you out, that maybe other people don't have a problem with, but you in particular struggle with?
To be honest, I struggle with the last sector. For whatever reason, I just feel like I'm very, very slow in the last sector. Everywhere else is fine. It's just mainly it's just mainly everywhere else, everywhere in the last sector.
Everywhere in the last sector. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, and it's one of my least hated sections on any F1 track. I really do dislike the last sector. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's the lack of grip, the understeer capabilities, and also the curbing as well. It does really bother me. And I know also with this track, it's very momentum based. Fast in and slow out never works anyway. So I definitely tell people to avoid that. A lot of people say slow in and fast out. I think that doesn't really apply to Silverstone. I think you really do need the momentum. You have to consistently carry the momentum through every corner, as we watch Millum go out on track again with the new set of softs. Momentum is key, traction is key, and composure as well. It's one of them tracks on the calendar, I'd say, similar to, say, Spa, and I'd say Singapore, where you really need to just keep up the consistency, keep the motivation, and keep your head down, or you're going to end up, as Millum showed us, say, at Cops, where he had a bit of a mishap. It's so easily done here. But where would you rank it, Cam? We've got a lot of tracks on the calendar. We've had a lot of changes to the calendar, especially in recent years in real life. But where would you rank it on a scale of favourite to least favourite tracks? Is it up there?
To be honest, it probably is one of my favourite tracks. Through the years, it's been probably my favourite. And then this year I had a few changes, and then I did actually, there was a period of time where I didn't like it. But then they removed the bump, and now I think it's probably one of my favourite tracks.
Yeah. I think with Silverstone as well is probably a bit of British bias here. I think having it as your home Grand Prix does add that extra flavour to it. You always want to do well at your home track. You always want to impress at your home track. And just having that title of, I've won at home is always a nice feeling to have. Yeah. I've never personally won here, which is probably the saddest thing I've ever said on a commentary stream. I've never been any good here. Obviously, the nature of the track, it is very wheel-based. There are a few pad sections. But I've never ever won in Silverstone. I've never had the privilege. Have you ever had the privilege, Cam? I know obviously it is classed as your home Grand Prix as well.
I think I've had the privilege of winning there. I think I've had the privilege of winning here once. It's just, as I said, it is just that extra bit more. Everything, because it is the home GP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think with Portimao as well, I wanted to touch on this obviously before we went into the session. Is a bit disappointing from yourself. I know there was some external factors where there was a few incidents here and there, especially with a few Ferraris, and you did show the pace, especially later on in the race, that you could be up there, and you did have a really good recovery drive. But is there anything that you're going to do differently here based on the performance that you had at Portimao?
Well, for my Portimao performance I'd say was very below par. Even I wasn't on it at all. This week, from what I've seen, it looks as if I'm more on it than last week. I'm definitely more confident than what I was last week. But I think if I just get my head down, I should be fine.
I did say obviously before you joined as well is you have the potential to be fighting for podiums and race wins every week. It's just that consistency factor, I think, with yourself. I don't know if you'd agree with me at all.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I think as I've shown, I think I've shown a lot of inconsistent performances. But there is times where I can show a consistent performance, just about getting it right.
Well, to take a positive note away from it all as well, you are currently leading the Constructors' Championship with obviously Alfie as your teammate. It is quite close with Ferrari. We've also got drivers like Paco and Ross in the Haas, not, a bit far behind in terms of the Constructors, but definitely willing and wanting to hunt you guys down. Is the Constructors something you want to achieve as a team as well? I know it's a nice token on the side, but are you focusing on that at all, or is it all the individual performance?
I think it's like just going race by race. To be honest, like I think me and Alfie we're just taking each race. We're not focusing on anything. We're just as long as we can finish as high as possible, I think that's all that we're looking for. But I think it's not something now, but as we get on throughout the season, and if we start getting good results, and I think that will definitely be something that will come into mind.
Well, yeah, exactly. We've seen one of the most controversial things to happen at Silverstone itself, where we've seen in real life Hamilton and Verstappen coming together, a good rivalry that ended in very unfortunate circumstances, in my opinion. Not because I'm a Hamilton fan. I think the whole charade of it all was quite unfortunate. Yeah. But I don't know with teammates. I always try and favour either a faster teammate or a slower teammate, as long as they're not in my bracket, just so I can run my own race. I know that's a personal preference for me, but I think maybe down the line there may be a few words said depending on positions in the championship. So I think you got something to look forward to there. Yeah. But yeah, just hopes for Silverstone. I think we'll end it on. We'll get Paco in for this as well. Yeah. We'll come to you first, though, Cam. Hopes for the race. Is it a race winner for you? Is that the goal? I know everyone wants to win every race, but realistically, is it the race winner you want, or are you looking just to secure a podium or just points finishes?
To be honest, I'd be lying if I wouldn't. If I said I'm looking at a points finish. I am looking at a race win. But that's once again if I can deliver as inconsistent performances. But yeah, I'd probably say race win is on the cards.
Good. And Paco, final note from yourself in terms of the interviews, and what's your hopes for Silverstone? What is your realistic? I know you're suffering with a hand injury at the moment, but what is the realistic? Finish the race? No. Fair. No, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. Finish the race. I like that. Is there any hope for points at all? Do you think you could try and help Ross out maybe, or is it just finish the race, keep your nose clean, and go from there?
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's plenty of drivers, who are on a similar level as me. So I don't know what can happen. But I really feel that if at least I feel comfortable with the car, which it seems more or less I'm getting the setup, in a good setup, I think I can be fighting for the points and maybe helping Ross. But there's still plenty of things to improve.
Well said. Anything else from you, Milan, before these guys go into race mode, or are you all good?
No, I'm good. Just good luck to you too. Try not to spin. So that's easily done. So,
yeah, no, there you go. I think I'll second that. Cheers, obviously, for joining me in the pre-race warm-up for IRL round 2. We'll be getting obviously drivers throughout the entire season coming into the stream and giving their thoughts and opinions on tracks, things. Gossip if you want as well during the paddock. But yeah, like I say, thank you to these guys, Paco and Cam, for joining me, and good luck in your races and in quali.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll be having another a break until the start of quali. Obviously, me and Millum have to get into the lobby for comms. I know these guys, Paco and Cam, have to get ready for the race and for quali also. So we'll be back in probably about 2 minutes. I know we're having a lot of breaks on this stream, but when you see us back, it will be for the start of quali. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a good one. This. All right, here we are, guys. Finally, welcome back. You know, a bit of a long intermission, probably longer than I would have wanted. There was a few technical issues trying to sort everything out, but welcome back. This is the start of the Silverstone qualifying session. As you can see, it's nice and sunny, a lot brighter than the practice session we had earlier anyway. As I just enable all of my settings on the screen. Got the telemetry and everything all sorted. As we see a few drivers already hopping out of the garage. There is a Mercedes, I believe, of Laggy TM that is going to grace us with his presence on the circuit. We will have to see what strategies are like here at Silverstone. Obviously, the deg's normally quite high, so maybe hard tyres might be an option, but I think it would be soft medium here, especially if you're just doing the one lap on the softs as well. But yeah, Laggy TM, who's actually in the Mercedes this time. Obviously, Laggy TM being a reserve driver, he gets whatever car is picked for him. He's not actually in a team at all. So he is representing Mercedes today. Obviously, Matt Romano couldn't race for obvious reasons. I think work, he said. He was just backed up with work. So let's see what Laggy TM can do. We've had a lot of coverage for him, especially in the practice session. So let's see how exciting it can be for him in the qualifying sessions. High hopes as well. He is a wheel user and he is looking quite feisty around here, so let's see where he can put it on the grid. Gives me a bit of chance to have a sip of a drink as well, just while the drivers get their tyres nice and heated up for the start of the qualifying session. Whew. There we go. Right, nice and fueled and ready for the lap. As Lewis Millam is going to activate his ERS, make sure he doesn't do it in off. He does activate hot lap, hopefully, as he comes around the final corner, unless that is just a bug. He does. And he's going to set off now. So this is the start of his lap. He's currently P18, obviously, because he hasn't set a lap at all. He's the 18th person to join the lobby. And it's a nice turn one, nice and flat, shifts into 8th gear, keeps the revs nice and low, and shifts sharply down into 3rd. Takes a nice wide line and then cuts sharply inside for the left-hander onto the back straight. Shifts up nicely, bit of oversteer twitch as he was just pulling on the exit. Bit of torque applied and obviously like limited traction. And now hard braking zone, obviously a bank left-hander going down into the hairpin. It's a very long hairpin, so you want to turn in quite late for the corner, nip the apex and take a nice curve in on the outside, just get the full throttle, full power load as you come out of the corner. Obviously you shift up to 8th, he's going to go flat through Copse. Is he going to lose it? There was a slight oversteer moment, may have lost slight momentum going through Copse, but it's all nice and clean so far from Mr. Millam. Obviously Maggots, Beckett's, and then coming into Chapel as well. It's all looking nice and clean from Laggy TM. He takes a slight bit of grass on exit, but not too much. I know they changed the curb in there. As he now comes down the Hamilton Straight, as it's known now. DRS wide open, brakes slightly on the grass and the curbing on the left-hand side, but it's nice through there. Keeps it on the track as well, as Bottle King needs to get out of the way. Oh, it could have compromised his lap there. He won't be happy with that. As Gravity goes on pole with a 1:28.1, but it's going to be smashed by Lewis Millam, a 1:26.9 already, which is a phenomenal lap from that man right there. Luke 2 Red not on a lap, which is just going to cycle through as Cam, Toxic Tomato, absolutely blitzes it already with a 26.4. So Cam already on top form at the moment. As we've got Hamrick, the likes of Ross on a lap as well. We've also got the Alpine of Jay Puden. Here he comes. Mind the final couple of corners, 4th, 5th, 6th gear as he crosses the line. It's going to be 3rd place with a 27.7. Bit far off the pace from that man there. Here comes Hamrick round the final corner. Hamrick's going to go 5th with a 28.4 as Jared also goes 4th with a 28.1. A lot of these starter laps will be bankers, so a lot of these drivers obviously are not going to be pushing all that hard so far. As Paco is on his out lap with the likes of Kevin going to start one as well. Also, you've got Bottle King, who's just invalidated this lap, so he's going to have to scramble back to the pits to see where he can put his car. As you cycle through the field just to see who is on a lap and who's going to complete one. It looks like Ross is on a lap. Very nice through Stowe. As he goes into the chicane, he's got Kieran ahead of him. He is giving him some dirty air, but Ross is coping quite nicely with it as Ross crosses the line to set a 1:27.4. Solid that time from Ross as Lewis Curtis sets a 26.6 and it goes P2. So well done to Lewis Curtis. A lot of people saying he was off the pace coming into this weekend. Well, by the looks of it, he isn't off the pace there. Anybody else out on track? Paco Suarez looking to start a lap. We've got the likes of Kevin, who is currently on a lap. It's not a very good first sector though from Kevin. And then we've got Sondre as well, who's just started his lap. So I think we'll stay on board with Kevin for the time being while he finishes his lap as there's yellow flags as people are manoeuvring out of the way. No crashes so far, I don't think. It's a very hectic qualifying session. Do you think Kevin will get a distant tow from the car ahead, the AlphaTauri? I'm not too sure if you will. But I'll go give Kevin some credit. He's given it his all as he goes into start very wide, actually. He's actually going to invalidate, I think, on there. Yeah, he is. As I'm now going to cycle through to Sondre, who needs to put in a good performance. He came 5th at Portimao, but I think he's looking for a bit more than 5th here in IRL as he takes Copse in 7th and runs horrifically wide on the lap. Is he carrying on or is he going to lift off? I think he's going to lift off knowing that he went wide. It wasn't invalidation on the game, but Sondre, as the representative person he is, should lift off and let the car behind through as well. Gave the car behind a nice tow. Who is that car behind actually? It's Bran, I think. But Bran might be peeling into the pit lane because he's already finished his lap. As Kieran's actually spun in the Williams. It seems alright. There's no damage to the car. As we're just cycling through the field, as we've got Bottle King and we've got Paco on lap. So Bottle King is about to finish his first. Let's see where he can position his McLaren. He's actually going to dive into the pit lane, so he wasn't happy with the setup of the car, and he's clearly not happy with his lap. So Paco Suarez, let's see what Paco can do. He's promised us decent things during this Grand Prix. He says he just wants to finish the race. He is suffering from hand issues as well, as he was in hospital earlier today, but he's clearly not happy with that lap either, and he bails into the pit lane. So a lot of drivers bailing into the pit lane. We've got Cam Rules on his outlap as well. We've got Fly High, who's currently on his outlap in the Alpine. And we've also got Jay Puden as Kieran has spun again. Kieran's not having a very good time with these medium tyres. He's really struggling out there today. Luckily, no damage to the car, I don't believe, so he should be fine. But he is all over the place at the moment. Let's have a look at Jay Pudan. Yeah, doing all right. Gravity's out for a lap as well. But what we'll do is we'll go on board with Cam Rules. We'll have a nice quiet lap from Cam Rules. I won't commentate on it, just to see the potential of the Red Bull and see where he can stick it. And Cam Rules actually invalidates the laps. That's a bit of a shame from him. He looked quite quick, actually. As Fly High, I believe, is the next man who's going to cross the line at some point. So let's see what the man can do in the Alpine. Have a bit of TV pod so we can really see the inputs from the driver. He lifts off in 8th gear, but it's very smooth through Copse Corner. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him. Hopefully it gets out of the way during the qualifying session. Shifts down twice, slightly late, but no, it's looking all good so far. And he's actually got invalid from going on the grass on the exit of Chapel, which is a bit of a shame. To be fair, I thought he was on quite a decent lap. As we're going to watch the likes of Cam or Toxic Tomato, let's see what he can do. He's promised us brilliant things during this race. He's tipped himself for the win He says, the potential is there, the pace is there, the win should be on the cards for Cam. He does love this track as he's going through Maggots and Beckett's. He's giving it absolutely everything. He doesn't get invalid as he goes through that section, and he's actually purple through the middle sector. So Toxic Tomato is really laying down a marker for the drivers here in Silverstone. The Alpha Tauri going through Stowe. It's lovely and clean through there. Cam is on a mission. Downshifts all the way to third gear. Wants to keep the momentum and the traction as he shifts early into fourth, into fifth, into sixth. Will even reach seventh before the line. Then Cam sets a 126.2. Well, does anyone have any answers for Cam at the moment? The top four currently are Toxic Tomato, Lewis Curtis, Laggy TM and Bugatti. Does anybody have anything on the cards to challenge this man so far? We've got Lewis Curtis and Laggy TM going to set back-to-back laps. Let's see what they can do. Lewis Curtis, I believe, is just invalidated on the entry. Lewis Curtis, you melt. I mean, it was actually going to be a fantastic lap. Laggy TM has done exactly the same as well, and he was quite close to the win. To pole, sorry, I should say. So everybody's making mistakes at the moment. Bugatti, what's he going to do in the other Alpha Tauri? The Alpha Tauri boys currently leading the Constructors' Championship quite some way from Ferrari, currently in second place as well. But what is Alfie going to do? Obviously on the pad, so you will see a slight difference going through Maggots and Beckett's with the pad. It's a bit more jittery compared to the wheel users as he goes slightly wide, but it's very clean from Alfie, and he's actually a 10th up, and it may be even a purple middle sector. So Alfie is really finding some pace in the Alpha Tauri. Let's see where he can put his car. It's a nice final sector from Alfie. Obviously, the pad thrives in the final sector. He actually shifts down to second. Does he maintain the momentum as he comes on the exit? He's going to touch the curb on the outside. But here comes Alfioli to the line. It's a 126.7. And he actually goes third fastest. And Laggy TM gets demoted to fourth. So it is really close here at Silverstone. We've got Bran Glover as well. And he's nearly lost it on Cops. He's not been invalidated. Hopefully Brand doesn't continue the lap, because I have caught you out, mate. He's just cut another corner as well. He's 3 tenths down, so hopefully he's not going to improve. He may have lifted off just to make sure he didn't. Is he going to finish the lap? He's not going to finish the lap. He's going to box this lap. We've got a few guys down the grid as well on laps. We've got Zexer, also known as Sondre Sorhaug, who's currently on a lap, and we've also got NSR MCFC on a lap as well. This man didn't do too bad at Portimao. I was quite impressed with his performance on the alternate strategy, but he's going to box this lap as well. Fly high, I don't know. Sondre again on the exit of Cops. Can't be doing that, mate. Sondre just not finding his feet here at Silverstone. Right, who else have we got out on track? We've got Alfie out on the track at the moment, who looks to be pitting. We've got Jared out on the track at the moment. Is he going to set a lap? He's got no ERS, so don't know if he's going for another one, or is he? Because he has activated it. Let's see his first sector from Jared. And he's actually going for it, I think, this lap. So Jared, first sector, not looking too shabby. He's currently in 7th position. I think the lap times could be a lot faster if people get their heads down. So they just need to get the bankers in. It is very tricky around here to get the bankers in. But let's stay on board with Jared. Let's see where he can position his Mercedes. As he actually gets invalidated going through Cops, which is a big shame for Jared. We will see if he was up in the middle sector if he keeps going as well. It's very nice from... Oh, it's lovely from Jared. You know, he's 2 tenths down anyway, so he did lose some time midway through the lap, but I don't think he'll be too upset, because he should get another set of tyres. If he boxes this lap, he should get a fresh set of boots and be out there by the time the session finishes. We've got a few drivers that have actually retired from the session, as you can see on the left-hand side. Jay Pudam currently in 10th, hoping somebody surpasses him, so he can actually... go in the alternate strategy down there in 11th. We've also got Bottle King, who's satisfied with his performance, who's also decided to retire. We've also got Hamrick down there in 13th place as well. And we've also got Kieran, who has retired, and NSR MCFC. who has retired. So, Kevin, he will be the first man to complete a lap of Silverstone. Currently sitting in P16, hasn't set a valid lap time so far. So it's last chance saloon for Kevin. The Irishman, who currently lives in Dublin. If you're ever from... Oh, it's gone wrong already for Kevin. Lap time over. He may get another shot if he's got the fuel. So I think he just has to save everything that he's got and hope that the lap goes a bit better on the second try. Cam Rules. The man who currently sits in 11th position. It's quite a nice place to be actually for Cam, as a lot of people are starting to retire. But he is going to go for it, I think. So Cam Rules, he is pushing. He wants more than 11th place. If he gets 3 tenths, he would push himself up to gravity. So that would be about 8th. And then maybe even Jared in 7th as well. Ross isn't too far away either, but he needs to gain a lot. And Cam Rules has actually spun. So Cam Rules just taking a bit too much curb on the exit, and he's actually bit not just the dust, he's actually taken a bite out of the gravel as well. So Cam Rules is out of this qualifying session, only unless he has enough fuel to get another lap in, but I don't think he'd want another lap on those sets of tyres. Kevin will be the first man round the track, I believe, again, so we will be on board with Kevin to start with. So here he comes. He's got enough fuel by the looks of it, and he's got enough ERS by the looks of it. Kevin, Aspect, in the Aston Martin. He's all over the place with this setup, so I don't know what setup he's got. I don't know what wings he's running, but it's not good so far. Kevin actually sets a lap, and he's happy with just putting a banker on the board. So Kevin is done in this qualifying session. I believe there is a Ferrari who is the first man to set a lap, and it is Lewis Curtis. So Lewis Curtis is the first man to start this qualifying session. The man who's currently sitting P2 with a 1:26.684 on the soft tyres. Can this man take pole? He enters turn 1. Beautiful from Mr. Curtis there, as he's also going to heavy brake into turn 3. Takes a lot of curb on entry. Don't want to be taking a lot of curb on exit. He's actually looks to have messed it up going into turn 5 there. No, turn 4 and then into turn 5, which is the left-hand kink, and then down the main straight. Sorry, down the back straight, I should say. He's pushing. He's actually up on his time, so he's pushing hard. Don't make any mistakes, Lewis. Just make sure it's nice and consistent, it's nice and clean. But he is currently up in Sector 1. He needs to find 4 tenths of a second to even come close to Cam's time here at Silverstone. I'm not too sure if anybody can beat that, but if anybody can beat that, it is this man we are on board with. There is a lot of laps going on. Cop's Corner, I think he was a bit hesitant as there's yellow flags in first sector. Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, here he comes, Lewis Curtis. It's not the fastest I've ever seen. It may cost him actually as he comes down the Hamilton straight. He is currently up. I'm not too sure if it's purple or not, but Lewis Curtis will improve, but how much by, we're not too sure. He's going to go into stone. It's beautiful from Lewis. He gets the fall down nice and early. As he now enters 7th gear, drops all the way down to 2nd, tries to get the momentum, short shift into 3rd, to 4th as he comes to the line, 5th, 6th, maybe even 7th as Lewis Curtis crosses the line. It's a 1:26.5. As Bugatti's going to cross the line, it's a 1:26.5 and he beats Lewis Curtis. Sensational scenes as Lewis Millam's going to take them both, I think, as he's going to cross the line. Lewis Millam, no, he doesn't. Lewis Millam with a 1:26.6 can't beat. Cam doesn't improve either. Is there anybody else out on track that can improve? Jared doesn't improve. Oh, he does improve by 2 tenths, but doesn't improve on position. As Bran is currently sitting in 6th. Can he overtake Ross? He needs 3 tenths of a second to overtake Ross Denham for 5th place as Sondre goes 5th in the Ferrari, as Bran's going to cross the line and Bran goes 5th in the Aston Martin. Sensational end to the Silverstone qualifying session as Bran snatches away 5th position from Sondre Sorhaug and Ross drops to 7th. Wow. Whew. Wow. Whew, a very dramatic end to the Silverstone qualifying session. The top 4 separated by 3.5 tenths of a second, so that's looking quite crispy for the race. Bugatti, wow, on the pad, that is very impressive, a 1:26.5. If I was doing quali, I would currently be in 8th position with Jared. Just thought I'd plug myself in there. But here's your order, as you can see on screen. We've got Toxic Tomato in first, second Bugatti, third Lewis Curtis, fourth Lewis Millam, also Laggy TM. Fifth we've got Brandon Glover, Sondre Sorhaug, sixth, seventh Ross Denham, eighth Jared Fosbury, ninth Adam Corrigan, and 10th Paco Suarez in 10th by 1 millisecond down there for the Haas team. So Paco, not a bad performance, but he will be starting on the soft tyre, so he's got to be careful. As it's a rain-sodden Silverstone GP. Get the wet tyres out, boys. Get the boats out. Get your canoes out. I think that's why there was a lot of times being set on the softs, because it's absolutely peeing it down here at Silverstone. Wow. Okay, so there's a spanner in the works. a big spanner that's been thrown into the works for the Silverstone GP. Sponsored by DHL. Just thought I'd mention it because it's plastered all over the pit lane. Wow, crazy scenes here at Silverstone. Not surprised. Rains quite a lot. It's not raining at the moment. Which is quite a surprise for England. So we're getting lucky. The drivers, not so much. Not really too sure who is a wet weather master around Silverstone. There's not really many wet weather drivers anymore. I think the game just doesn't facilitate you being that quick in the wet. It can be quite difficult. I don't even know who to pick at this point. It's quite hard to pick between the drivers. I'm not really too sure who to go for. Because everybody should be on wets. Yeah, everybody's on wets. We all knew that because it is. I can't even see, and I'm the commentary person, so it's really going to be a treacherous race for these guys. So I have a quick beverage because there isn't enough moisture on the track at all. As the two AlphaTauri boys again asserting their dominance at the top of the field, first and second this time. So when Cam laid down a marker, he really did lay down a marker. He's taken pole and he wanted it. Jared's been disqualified from qualifying as Paco's actually spun under under the formation lap, so he needs to be careful. Maybe the hand is coming into play. The hand. But Paco's currently at the back of the grid. Jared's been disqualified. I'm not really too sure how. Normally it's with contact with another driver, but there doesn't seem to be any contact with anybody else because he's not near anybody else. So okay. I'm just trying to think setups. Was the setups dry based for quali? Because there were some quite quick lap times from the drivers, especially at the end. So I don't think the setups have been modified to be wet, but I do think the strategies are 100% going to change. I'm not too sure if it's a full wet race throughout or if it's going to dry up by the end. I imagine it'd get lighter as Ross spins off into the wall. That's quite embarrassing because I was on board with him. Oh, did he get hit? He must have got hit by Adam. Adam must have hit him. But anyway, as some of these drivers get to grips with the conditions, we're nearing the start of the race. I'm going to put my money on Alfie. So Bugatti and P2. Because I think in the wet, you need somebody who's consistent. He says he's not very good at Silverstone, and I believe that is partly due to, obviously, the wheel bias. But I think when the conditions are like this, you need somebody who is going to keep their cool in these conditions, and Alfie is probably that man. Also Bran, I'll tip Bran for a podium as well. But anyway, enough gibberish coming out of my mouth. It's time for the start of the Silverstone GP as the lights go from 0 to 5. As the drivers are ready on the grid, there's drive-through penalties for multiple people as they jump the starts, but it looks like Bugatti's actually got the better start off the line. I'm not too sure as Cam nearly loses it. Alfie looks like he's taking the lead of the Grand Prix, and there's Jay Poon, and I don't think he's meant to be there, but he's currently in P2. We've also got Lewis Curtis and Laggy TM who are dropping down the field. Lewis Curtis fighting with Jay Poon on for P3. It's absolute scenes here at Silverstone as Brand Glover looks like he's going to make up a few positions as well in the Aston Martin. It's absolute carnage as Fly High and Hamrick are caught in some incidences. There's contact all over the place. I can't even keep up with the amount of contact that's going on. Kieran's had an absolute mare down there as well. Paco Suarez down in 11th position. Ross Denham down to 8th. So people all over the place have crashed as there's a virtual safety car for the incidents that have happened at the start of the race. As you can see, Hamrick has no front wing whatsoever, so he is down and out of this race. It's not even a full safety car for him, so he's really going to struggle in these conditions. We've got Cam Rules with a drive-through penalty and Jay Pudan for jumping the start. So must have been maybe a light glitch or anything like that, or some lag, or I don't know, because it's quite odd to see two drivers jump the start. But anyway, back to the front. Alfie, superb off the line. He was like a rocket. Couldn't be stopped. Alfie takes first place in today's Silverstone GP, followed by his AlphaTauri teammate of Cam, as he get back underway. Green flags across the board as Cam looks to challenge his teammate down into Stowe. I don't think he'll get near him this lap, but he's going to eye him for maybe future laps, as I cannot see anything on my camera. I literally cannot see anything. I know I'm old, but I ain't that. Well, I'm not old. But anyway, we move on. We won't talk about my age. As Cam is looking very feisty, he just needs to make sure he keeps it on the track. As Sondre has overtaken Jay Pudan, who has to pit for his drive-through, which is really going to hinder you around Silverstone. As I am now on board with Ross. He's lost a bit of time to the guys ahead, as well as Adam's lost it. I've caught it on stream. Adam has lost it and rejoined, but it looks like Kieran's going to take the place. And Adam, unfortunately, is going to concede the place and move down to 9th, but no damage done so far. Wow. It's really treacherous at this moment, as Jared Fosbury is under pressure from NSR MCFC, who's got fantastic drive. Out of turn 5, Jared's going to cover the outside line. MCFC down the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Will Jared fight back? No, it's a fantastic move from the McLaren driver. That's really, really good from MCFC. Yeah, that's a mouthful. But then he loses it. He loses it at the hairpin, and he's allowed not one but 2 drivers to come past. Luke, 2 Red, and Jared both come past at the same time. Wow, it's really kicking off here at Silverstone. I'm going to have to divert my attention to the front, though, because these guys are getting very close. Cam looks hungry for the race win here today. He said he wanted a podium at least, but he really wants the race win, and you can see he's hungry for it. He may even challenge Alfie going down into Stowe. Will he challenge Alfie going down into Stowe? No. Adam's lost a place again to Paco Suarez as well, so Adam really struggling in these wet weather conditions. Cam really pressurising Alfie, and Lewis Curtis as well up there, challenging his teammate. Oh, Cam's gone a bit deep, though. That's really going to compromise him going into the last corner. Lewis Curtis nearly loses it, but he's right on the back of Cam now. Toxic Tomato as this yellow flag's in sector 2, and Cam Rules is out of the British Grand Prix. That should be a virtual safety car. It is a virtual safety car. That is a virtual safety car. I don't think anybody will choose to pit. NSR trying to get the traction to enable him to move. There's also Jay Pudan is really far behind. But you know what, mate? Applaud these guys for their commitment to keep going. You know, they know safety cars can happen. It's a wet, sodden race, and let's see what they can do. Obviously, it's green flags here at Silverstone. It doesn't look like Cam's had the best of restarts down there in up there in P2. So he's let Alfie off the hook for now. Obviously no DRS enabled as Hamrick picks up another penalty for multiple warnings. But these drivers seem to be hanging on. Brian Glover, driver of the day so far, doing a fantastic job there in P4. And Laggy TM doesn't seem to be having the pace in the wet. He seems to be struggling and maybe even falling into the clutches of Sondre Solhaug. So let's see how this plays out. Obviously there's battles all over the place. I will have to divert my eyes to the front because the front is the most important for now. It could change later on in the race. I'm seeing the likes of Jared Fosbury actually, who might be making a move on Gravity. He is. I had to quickly double check that because the time was coming down so fast. They're going to go into Stone neck and neck. Gravity around the outside. Jared up the inside. Is he going to leave him room on the outside? He pushes him wide. And Adam's actually off the track and gets a penalty. So Jared forcing other drivers off the track. He was entitled to the corner. He did have the inside line. Gravity fought his cause, but ended up getting a penalty for it. So was it worth it? Not too sure. That might be inquired about later on in the race. So Adam loses a position to Jared, and Adam looks like he's struggling like a hell out there. as Luke is all over the place. Can't even stay in a straight line, bless him. But he's doing a good job to stay there in P13. As Cam looks like he's made a mistake, actually. I think Cam has made a mistake because Cam has lost the position to Lewis. I've just seen the gap increase to 1 second as Cam's actually lost it going onto the straight, and Bran's actually going to make a move. Bran, there could be contact. There is contact as Bran tries to overtake Cam, who's currently struggling. I said Cam can be a bit susceptible to incidents, and he has been. He's cost himself second place. He's probably very annoyed. He just needs to calm down. He's not got any damage. He's not lost too much time. He's still within the limits, and he's still within touching distance of the race win. But Bran Glover, what a launch out of there. Bran's going to have a move, surely. Around the outside, maybe to Beckett, and Beckett's not really an overtaking move. Danny Kvyat tried onto Carlos Sainz and it ended in tears. Luckily, these two aren't teammates, but Bran, a lot of understeer. That allowed Laggy TM, the driver behind, to maybe get in on the action. But he just looks like Laggy's not close enough to make a move. But will Bran make a move? It's exciting stuff. I'm having to have drinks because my mouth's getting really dry. I'm trying to commentate over all these battles, but it's a thrilling race here at Silverstone. I'll try and keep it in broadcast cam as much as possible, but the visibility and the camera angles are really making it difficult to actually see the action. So I'm just trying to keep it in TV pod so you guys can actually catch up on what's going on. As you can see, it's single file pretty much all the way down to 8th place, which is Kieran. Kieran having an absolute abysmal qualifying, and he's all the way up in 8th. So Kieran, he seems to have found some pace from somewhere as he's currently in P8 and he's looking to attack Ross Denham. So it's really heating up here in Silverstone. We've got sort of the top 9. I think Paco could catch this pack. He just needs to get his head down. He's doing a fantastic job there in P9. He just needs to get his head down and he definitely can catch this pack. Obviously further back, the likes of Kevin and Jared there need to just focus on trying to catch the pack because they are struggling at the moment. They are a bit far away. But yeah, Paco is the last driver. So we've got yellow flags in sector 3. I believe that is Hamrick, who might retire from the race. It is Hamrick, and he is going to retire from the race. That shouldn't be a virtual safety car or anything like that. It should be fine, because he is within the limits of the track. Yeah, looks all good, I think. Just checking the map on the left-hand side as Laggy TM's all over the back of Bran. He got very close then. He's only 0.3 of a second behind him. You can see a lot of these drivers using a bit more ERS. Now they're starting to get closer to people as Laggy TM. It was a bit of a horrible Maggots and Beckett's. Yeah, he's not going to gain any time through there as Lewis Curtis is on a flyer down the straight. He's gained 0.5 of a second in the space of 1 lap on Alfie in first. But it's one thing catching, it's another thing passing as he runs wide. It's Stowe really struggling for traction there as he corrects the mistake. As through the final couple of corners we go. I think Lewis, this could be fastest lap if he can keep it together for the final couple of corners. He's all over the place, but Lewis Curtis, that's a 1:40.9. It's not as impressive as quali, but it is fastest lap of the race from Lewis Curtis. The man to watch at the moment, currently in second position, capitalising on a mistake from Toxic Tomato, who looks like he's fallen even further behind the pack at the front. So he's really got issues. I've got issues. You've got them too. Toxic Tomato really suffering at this moment in the Grand Prix. Trying his best to maintain the pace with the front runners. He's definitely not falling off by a lot, but he just needs to keep his head and make sure he's not doing anything rash. As Laggy TM is now closing in on the back of Bran Glover. Bran Glover, he's moving like a glove. A famous quote from a famous race of champions in a different league by your one and only Alfioli up there in P1. Laggy TM though, all over the back of Bran. I think he's going to be making a move. If he can just get close enough through Maggots and Beckett's down the Hamilton straight, he may have a chance to make a manoeuvre. But at the moment, Laggy TM just currently just not really doing a lot. As we see Jared, I think it's all over the back of Kevin as Bran actually picks up a penalty. So Bran really suffering at this moment in time. We've got Kevin as well, who looks like a boat, and that's probably why he's doing so well in these conditions. Definitely not F1 racing weather. As Jared looks to be making a move. I don't think Laggy TM's going to go for a move as the gap does decrease to 0.3 of a second. As Jared looks like he's going to bide his time. Paco Suarez now picks up a penalty. Oh, that's detriment to his race as we see the likes of Kieran, Ross and Sondre peel away from the guys ahead and look to be having their own little race down there in 6th position. But yeah, as I said, There are battles all over the place currently as Cam now picks up a penalty. These yellow flags, who is that? It's Paco Suarez, I think. It is Paco Suarez. So Paco Suarez at turn 1 and 2 is actually spun and is currently in 12th position. Is he going to impede anybody else? No, he should be fine just to fit into the slot. But he's got big issues. He's going very, very slowly as Paco as he makes a mistake into turn 1. I think that's where he picked up his penalty as well, as he's going to cause even more yellow flags. I'm not really too sure what's up with Paco. If there's any controller issues or anything like that, but we're going to move on. There's battles ensuing all over the place because Ross, Kieran and Sondre are looking to have a bit of a battle. They're losing time to the guys ahead though, so they've got to be careful they're not going to lose too much time. As Laggy TM has now decreased the gap to 2 tenths of a second behind Bran. This could be the time for Laggy TM. Will he make the move? I don't think he can. Every time he tries to go on the attack, onto the back straight, no, Hamilton straight, sorry, he just can't seem to close. He seems to just lose too much time. So, Lucky TM stuck in 5th position, I think. I think he's got a bit more pace. But saying that, Bran's doing very well to keep the guys ahead as well, which I think Bugatti, he's not trying to back them up, but I believe he is backing up Lewis Curtis and Cam slightly as well as Cam. Oh my God! As we just go on board with Cam out of the last corner and he nearly lost it. That's a fantastic save from Cam. This man drives on the limit. Honestly, it looks like Valtteri Bottas at some stages. It's freaking Turkey. Just, oh my God, he just drives on the edge. There's no limit to what this guy can achieve in the car, honestly. He needs to be careful though, because sometimes dangling on a knife edge isn't what you want in some of these races. That's why I tipped the likes of Alfie to take the race win here, because he just seems a bit more steady. He's probably not the fastest guy out there, even though he is driving very impressively at the moment, but he is going to bring it home. Well, I hope so anyway, for his sake. As Adam picks up another penalty for track limits, and Luke picks up a penalty as well. As there's yellow flags in sector 1, that's just some of the Renault guys at the back of the grid, so we won't go on board with them. As Kieran is now all over the back of Ross, so Kieran could be making a move on Ross Denham. You've got to be careful of penalties around here. As you can see on the left hand side, a lot of people getting a few penalties, as Kieran looks to be making a move, as Kevin now picks up a penalties as I speak the forsaken word penalty. Can Kieran make a move? Can Ross make a move? Nobody's making any moves. It's stalemate at the moment. I think Kieran, if you can line up a good stow, maybe the chicane might be a good place to make a move. He's really close. He can sniff what Ross has had for lunch. That's how close he is. Like, he can't get any closer. It's the fastest lap of the race. It's a 1:40.5. So has been improved upon. There's just some areas of the track the drivers just cannot follow due to dirty air circumstances. Obviously, Laggy TM I think is finding that out the most at the moment. Still behind Bran. He's definitely the closest out of anybody at the moment. Him or Kieran. I think Ross gets quite close to Sondre at some points as well. But at the moment, Laggy TM I think really does need to find the extra bit of traction to get past Bran. Because I think now he's dialed into the race, I think Bran is an obstacle that needs to be cleared, as Cam nearly loses it again. You saw how sideways this car went on the exit of the hairpin. So Cam really struggling here at Silverstone. But he's got pace, he just needs to try and show it a bit more. But it's the consistency, you see, consistency is key. If you're not consistent, you're not going to win. And Cam, he's showing good pace consistency, but he's just not keeping it on the track at the moment, as Laggy TM got nice and close to Bran, but then seemed to concede it halfway through because I think he was scared of hitting him. As Bran's going to use a lot of battery to try and escape. I think he's going to use pretty much all of it to try and escape Millum, which he can in the wet. You know, it does recharge quite fast. As Bran's going to go wide. Oh, nearly picking up another penalty. As Laggy TM actually locks up, and that's going to cost him a few tenths of a second. He may even drop to a second behind, and oh, he's nearly lost it. As Lewis Curtis with a 1:40.2, so is the track improving? I'm not too sure, but it's definitely spread the top guys out as Lewis has made that mistake. isn't going to fall into the hands of Sondre though, because Sondre just doesn't seem to be on the level of the guys ahead at the moment. This is yellow flags for an Alpine on the Hamilton straight, and that would be a full safety car. Why is that a full safety car? Fly High is out. I think it's a no-brainer to pit for everybody. But there is a full safety car here in IRL. It's definitely Fly High who's caused it, as that's very strange. On the Hamilton straight, must have come out of chapel and just lost it and hit the wall. But yeah, very odd that there's a full safety car. I didn't see exactly what happened to him. But anyway, I don't know how I feel about this safety car. It was brewing up to be quite an impactful, impressive race of just pure driving skill and talent. But it looks like Cam's probably going to be dropped down the grid a bit, because he's going to have to double step with his teammate. But Cam, to be fair, Cam might not want to pit. Cam might go to the end of the race on these sets of wets, as Alfie continues on. That's a bold decision as Cam really steamrolls into his teammate. I think pitting could be a play here. I'm not too sure why people aren't. I think pitting for a fresh set of tyres. Maybe the tyres can go to the end. Maybe that's why people aren't pitting. Kevin is going to pit, which I think is the correct decision, but what do I know, eh? What do I know? I don't know nothing. I think pitting could be the right decision. I think the front guys, I understand. They want to just, keep it as simple as possible. Don't want to overcomplicate anything. Don't want to make anything too difficult. If Harvey stays out, I stay out, sort of a concertina effect. But a lot of these lower down guys, they're boxing. I think Bottle King and Jay Pruden have really been let off. They were nowhere in this race, and they're going to be right in the back of people now as Paco Suarez overtakes Luke Tourette in the pits. It's the safety car around here. It is quite quick, so hopefully everybody can catch up, but I'm not too sure if they will. There's now Jay Prudhomme rejoins in 16th place. Obviously, a lot of penalties to be counted up at the end of the race. So anybody who hasn't got a penalty is looking pretty good. There's a good chunk in the mid pack. As you can see, you've got Alfie and Lewis Curtis who haven't picked up a pen. You've got Laggy TM, Sondre, Tech 31 Racing, Kieran. You've got IRL Neon who haven't picked up a pen, and you've got Bottle King down there as well. Very impressive. You have to reward people without penalties. I've never been one. I always seem to pick up one penalty every race. That's normally my kryptonite, which is unfortunate. But yeah, you have to applaud people who have been clean. So well done to these guys so far, being clean. Let's see if obviously that ultimatum changes. The safety car should be out for another couple of laps. So we're going to have the lovely view. Who should we have a lovely view of, actually? We've been on the top guys quite a lot. Just don't crash into each other, guys, please, and give yourself damage. We'll go on board with Jared. Or will we? Or will we go further down? We'll go on board with Paco, who's actually going to pit again, which I think is the sensible thing, and get rid of his 5-second penalty. Hopefully he can get round fast enough to warrant the extra pit stop. Obviously, it is quite a long pit lane here at Silverstone. Paco will drop to the back of the grid as Ross crashes into Kieran, who I believe was behind. Yeah, Kieran was behind Ross. So I'm not too sure what's happened between those two, but Kieran has seemed to hit Ross, or Ross has hit Kieran or something. I'm just going to keep on board with this. because they seem to be getting quite close. So tensions are running high here at Silverstone. It may be wet on track, but it's definitely heated in the cockpits. As Ross looks like he's got to serve a time penalty, which will drop him to the back of the grid. If he did want to serve it, as these guys are getting very close. So I don't know if the safety car is just going too slow, or certain drivers are going too slow. I know Sondre's got a slight bit of a gap to the guys ahead, but it's nothing to write home about. As Kieran is scaring me a bit, I'd be very worried if he was behind me, put it that way. So Ross has a 5-second penalty to serve. Does Kieran have a 5-second penalty to serve? I didn't see it pop up, but it might be true. If those two have collided, because Kieran is all over the place at the moment. I know he's trying to heat his tyres up, but it's heating your tyres up and then there's making a new circuit, mate. So just be careful. As the safety car, it may go around for another lap just because Paco hasn't joined. So I think it might go around for another lap. Have a look at Adam. Yeah, Adam's quite a safe distance behind, you see. Doesn't really get too close. And the front runners as well. Lewis is quite close to Alfie, but apart from that, these guys aren't that close really either, as Kieran actually boxes. So Kieran either going for an alternate strat or wants to get rid of his pen. Interesting. So I think Kieran is out of this race because Kieran won't make up the time. And has Ross pitted as well? Ross is out of the race as well then. I think those two can save... Oh, they've got damage. That's a new nose for Kieran. So Kieran's definitely hit Ross, because that is a new nose for Kieran. I'm not too sure if they will catch. I know it is a long pit lane. I think Ross will catch. I'm not too sure about Kieran though, because he's a further 7 seconds behind. So he should be fine. They should be fine. The safety car's going quite slow actually. Yeah, they should be fine. But they will be at the back of the field. So that is something to bear in mind. Kieran removes his penalty completely, so it was just a severe collision. Ross rejoins in 15th place, and he's got his teammate ahead of him, which is never a nice situation to be in at all. But I'm just glad that the safety car is going to end and we can finally get back to racing. Because as much as I do love a good safety car to spice things up, it's really dragging on the time now, and I want to see some action. I want to see some prime time defence. I want to see some prime time overtakes. I want to see some wet weather mastery. I think halfway through though, because we are basically exactly halfway through the race, I'd say drivers, or could be drivers of the day. We've got, I think Kevin's doing a brilliant job in 9th place. I think Sondre, solid, 6th place, no pens. I think Alfie in 1st has been doing a terrific job also. And I think Bolking deserves a shout. I think Bolking really does deserve a shout. He's been very consistent. He's been very solid. And at the moment, he's in 12th place with no pens, and he's probably looking for a points finish. So if Bolking can keep up the driving that he is at the moment, then I'll tip him for some good points here today. But anyway, let's get back to the front, where Alfie's going to control the pace of the field. When's Alfie going to bolt? That is the question. Has he bolted already? I think he has. Yeah, Alfie nearly loses it actually as he bolts, and Lewis Curtis is aware to it. Lewis Curtis, as we get underway here at Silverstone, green flags across the board. Lewis Curtis looks like he's actually clocked on to what Alfie's doing. Could be making a move down the inside maybe, or down the outside. No, Alfie covers the inside line, but Lewis is going to take a nice swoop in. As Lewis didn't lose it and actually makes contact with the AlphaTauri driver, and then Cam also makes contact with Lewis as well. So these drivers are on the edge. They are on a knife's edge at the moment, as Lewis Curtis is giving absolutely everything to get past Alfie at the moment. He's going to fake to the inside, but it doesn't look like he's going to make a move. So Alfie maintains 1st position. Fantastic stuff from Lewis. He's got number 2 on his chassis, but I think he'd want number 1 by the end of the race. Looking further down the grid, there's a lot to be desired as drivers are very close to each other but not making any moves. Lewis Millam still stuck behind Brandon Glover. Can't seem to make any inroads on him as Sondre loses touch with the guys ahead. Also, Adam has fallen off completely and Jared looks to be on the verge of pouncing. Going further down the grid, Paco Suarez, Ross Denham and Kieran Spears are all just in their own world, doing their own thing, having a fantastic time. But here we go. Lewis Curtis, it's going to be around the outside. Is it to Stowe? Lewis Curtis on Alfioli. Will he make the move? No, Alfie covers the inside line and parks it on the apex. Lewis Curtis is aware to that. Is he going to make a move down the inside into the chicane? Surely he's got to try something. No. Lewis doesn't try anything as Laggy TM comes across and nearly takes out Cam. Oh my God, scenes here at Silverstone as Laggy TM locks up completely. Nearly wipes out the AlphaTauri and concedes the position to Bran again. There's scenes here at Silverstone as Bran is all over the back of Cam. So Bran looks to be making a move for third place. This is for a podium. He's using his thing, his EOS, as this incident as Ross is out of the race. Oh my God, Ross is spun and he's out. As Lewis Curtis looks to be making a move as well on Alfie. Can Lewis Curtis, as he can't get the traction down the main straight. That's Luke 2 Reds making moves on Bottle King as well for P11. Bottle King, finally picks up a penalty. Bit of a shame there. He's having a fantastic race in 12th position. But Lewis Curtis looking the feistiest out of everybody here. And also Bran, I think, wasted his opportunity to get past Cam. He had the chance as Laggy TM came like a flipping steamroller into the chicane, completely locked his brakes and nearly took out half the field. So luckily Laggy TM managed to keep himself composed as he's now going to go nearly neck and neck through Cops as Lewis Curtis looks to line up Alfioli again. We're going to have to go back, I think, as the other McLaren picks up a penalty as well. But Lewis Curtis, will he get the traction needed? He looks like he's had a pretty decent exit. Don't know if he'll be close enough to make a move, but let's see what Lewis Curtis can do. He's getting closer and closer all the time as ERS deployment is all over the place. Laggy TM is sick of the Aston Martin. You know he wants to get past him. Will he go for the same move down to the chicane? He looks way too far back this time, but he's going to have to try something ridiculous. Maybe not as crazy as what he did last time, but I rate the effort. 10 out of 10 for enthusiasm anyway, put it that way. As Sondre continues to drop off the back as lap times come through thick and fast. Cam setting a 40.0, which is definitely the fastest lap time we've had so far. As these guys are really trying their hardest to keep the cars on the circuit. Kevin just has no steering capability whatsoever. The fact that he's even involved in this race is a miracle, as NSR MCFC dispatches Kevin with a fantastic move into turn 3. That's brilliant, as this yellow flags in sector 3. That is Ross, and he is out of the Silverstone GP. But yeah, brilliant move from MCFC down there. As we watch the front runners again, trying to make moves, as Kieran now picks up a penalty down there in 15th. So yeah, it's really heating up again. Lewis Curtis, he's getting a right good sniff of out for your head. Now that man's nostrils is all over the gearbox. And speaking of nostrils over gearboxes, Laggy TM's looking to sniff a bit of that Aston Martin as well, going through Maggots and Beckett's. But Lewis Curtis again has had a phenomenal exit. He had to correct a bit of oversteer as he came onto the main straight, but he's trying to use everything in his power to get close, but he just cannot overtake. It's so tricky to overtake without DRS with these cars because you lose so much downforce being in dirty air. As Paco and Kieran are going to swap positions down there in last, and also Bottle King, J Pudan and Luke 2 Red are having a battle as well. As Bottle King, Luke cuts across him. As Bottle King has to lock his brakes to avoid an incident. So that was a bit naughty from that man right there. As Lewis Curtis is getting ever closer to Alfie. I'm keeping an eye on it so we don't miss anything that's happened. As there's yellow flags, that is Paco. So the other Haas has now succumbed here, as we're going to look at NSR MCFC. Jared does very well to defend the position, but Gravity is an absolute roadblock at the moment. If Jared can actually get past Gravity, then he's looking for quite a good finish. As Bottle King as well down there, he's having a good scrap with Luke's miles off the track. I don't know what's happened there. It's going to be 4 abreast. Oh my God, what's happening here? Oh my god, it's like 7 million abreast. What's going on? Luke's going to rejoin off the track. I'm going to have to keep on board with this. This is crazy. As Kieran's going to go on the inside. Jay Poudan's going to go on the inside. Jay Poudan spun. Oh, Jay Poudan's out of the race. Luke looks like he's going to be out of the race in a second as well. So, oh my god, 4 abreast down the main straight, and that was never going to end well as Jay Poudan is reversing into no man's land. So I'm not really too sure what he's doing, as I'm going to have to go on board with Lewis Curtis because he is in the thick of it once again, sniffing the rear of Bugatti in the AlphaTauri. I'm pretty sure he's getting sick of this AlphaTauri. He's got to dispatch him at some point. Lewis Curtis is going to try everything in his power to try and get onto the back of the AlphaTauri. Apparently the AlphaTauri is harvesting. I really doubt it. It might just be the rain lights, Lewis. I don't think he is harvesting. Yeah, it's just the rain lights, mate. So chill out. As he still cannot get past Alfioli. Alfioli doing a fantastic job as Bottle King and Kieran are having a fantastic battle going into Stoke. I think Kieran's going to keep the place, but Bottle King, look at Bottle King go to the traction on exit. This is going to go down the inside of Kieran into the hairpin, into the chicane. Oh my god, I'm messing up all my words as these battles have been so enthralling. Down the inside, it was a good move. I would have been a bit more aggressive and pushed him, but no, it was a fair move, and you've got to applaud safety above it all. As Adam and Jared have had a tit-for-tat relationship this entire race, and Jared, down this straight, needs to get a fantastic exit, and he just needs to absolutely bomb it. Jared's made a mistake, but Adam made a mistake, then Jared followed him. So it's like copycat for Jared, as they're both going to use the ERS going down the straight, so Jared's not going to have any chance of going down the inside. Don't even fake it, mate. You're nowhere near. You've got to line him up. Especially if he's making it. Oh, I think he's been hit. Oh, Bottle King's gone. Bottle King got. Oh, no, it's NSR MCFC. MCFC has gone as Kieran takes a nice wide line. As look at this from Bottle King. 4th gear for traction. It seems to be working for him, to be fair. So I think a few other drivers need to adopt that strategy in some of these corners. As Cam looks like he's all over the back of Lewis Curtis. So Lewis Curtis could be going from the aggressor to the defender in one lap. Toxie Tomato, is he going to make a move? Surely he's got to make a move. He's got to do something. He's going to make a move down the inside. Here comes Cam. Oh my god, it's thrilling stuff here at Silverstone. He can't get the move done. It's great driving from Lewis Curtis to avoid an accident. And here comes Brandon Glover now. The top 5 separated by less than a second. Well, they're not. It's about a second and a half. But I just want to make it more dramatic. By about a second and a half. If we're being honest, as Laggy TM sits at 139.7. This man's on a mission as well. Brand Glover's on a mission. Alfioli needs to get a move on as Jared looks to be making another move on Gravity. Jared, you got to get it done, mate. You got to have a nice clean Cobb's corner. Get it nice and straightened for turn 3. Here we go. Down the inside goes Jared Fosbury. It's been a long time coming. Adam leaves him plenty of room, and it's a really good defence from Adam Corrigan. As Laggy TM is going to go down the inside of Brand Glover. Will he finally get the move done? Brand's going to fight it to the max. He's going to go off the track to keep the position as well. The camera angles are all over the place as Laggy TM is being pushed. He's being pushed by Brand Glover all over the place. Laggy TM can't get. Cam's gone. Cam has gone. I told you it was going to happen. Cameron Young is out of the Silverstone GP. I knew it was going to happen. So this battle for P3 now is heated up even more. Cam is out of the Silverstone GP. He's spun and he's down there in 6th, and he's going to lose even more time as he's now fighting with the likes of Adam going into Cobb's corner. Jared's lost the place to Kevin as well. It's kicking off all over the place here at Silverstone. I can't even breathe. There's that many battles going on. It's absolutely ridiculous. As Jared's lost the place, Cam's lost a handful of places. Lewis Millam still can't get past Brand Glover. And it's just going to get even more hectic. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Paco Suarez picks up a penalty as Kevin's made a mistake, and Jared is going to go down the inside, surely into Stowe. He's got to make a move. You can't just keep sitting behind people. Jared is all over the back of Kevin, and he's not made a move. Cam's nearly lost it again on the exit of Stowe. It's ridiculous. Fantastic racing here at Silverstone. Cam again is going to be kicking himself as Kieran now goes on the inside of Jared, and Kieran's up to 9th. Crazy scenes, absolutely crazy. I'm going to have no voice by the end of this race. There's 7 laps remaining of the Silverstone GP, including the one that we're on, as Cam get past Adam because Adam made a mistake. And wow, I just don't believe it. Oh, I need some I need some fluid to recharge, I think. That is insane. Absolutely insane last couple of laps. Battles all over the place, cycling through, trying to get the right one. And it's just been crazy scenes as Kieran looks to take Aspect. Kieran's on planet Mars at the moment. This guy's got some twin turbo jet engine in the back of that Williams because he's fighting and wrestling the car all over the place. Obviously, I know some of these drivers have assists off and some of these drivers have a few assists on, so it can be a bit unfair, especially when it comes to the wet weather conditions. I think Kieran is one of them drivers who has a few assists on, as you can probably see going through some of these corners. ABS is definitely on because he's braking and turning at every opportunity. But he's doing fantastic at the moment. He looks like he's going to be having Kevin down the straight as well. I don't think Kevin can put up a defence at all. Like Kieran, that Williams is looking pretty rapid down the straight. He's going to take to the inside. Here comes Kieran in the Williams down the inside of Aspect. Kevin, who's going to do the switchback on him maybe. Here we go. Kevin's going to do the switchback. Surely he's going to do the switchback. He's going to do the switchback. No. So Kieran gets the move done again, and he is now on to Gravity. Gravity swimming about all over the place. So is Kieran, by the looks of it. That last corner, an absolute nightmare for these guys. Really, really struggling with traction going through that section of the track. Whew. As I'm trying to take every opportunity to have replenish the oxygen tank. Breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth, hyperventilating during an F1 race. It can be challenging to commentate on a few of these races, but it's been fantastic as there's yellow flags, as I believe that's Cam again. Yep, Cam, it's finally over for him. He's not going to score any points here with Silverstone, as Kieran is actually going to go on the inside of Gary. He's not left him a lot of room there. You got him a bit more room than that, the Alfa Romeo. He's going to keep it round the outside though, so a stellar defence from Gravity, as Kieran's just going to look for a revenge kill down the straight. You're not going to do it into Cops. Surely not into Cops. Surely not into Cops. Oh my God, Adam actually left the inside open because he thought he was going to go for it. The lovely little bait and switch from Kieran. We're going to have a look on board with Kevin. Is he going to do it down into Maggots and Beckett? It's never an overtaking spot. They're still neck and neck. Oh my God, round the outside, what a move from Kieran. Adam completely out of shape going through that section. And here comes Jared Fosbury. Jared Fosbury round the outside of Chapel. That is sensational from Jared Fosbury. And here comes Ball King as well. Ball King on Kevin, could be going down the inside. Kevin's going to go on the inside of Jared maybe. No. Oh my God, this battle's all over the place. There's light ETMs, that's a 139.1. As Ball King is all over the back of Kevin. He's going to go round the outside of the chicane. Nobody ever goes around the outside of the chicane. Kevin, you got to give him some room, mate. You've not left him a lot at all. Kevin, Max Verstappen-esque from Kevin. Really likes to shove drivers off onto the dirt with his racing style. Really doesn't like to concede positions, does Kevin. As Kieran has just gone off into the distance. A sensational move from the Williams driver. Absolutely ridiculous scenes. As I continue to lose my voice, it's lap 22 of 26. It's been an absolutely thrilling GP. I think Kieran might be on for drive of the day as Packer gets past Luke, I think, after making a mistake. But yeah, wow. I think more battery needs to be used. Anyway, Jared, if you can hear me on the stream, get using your battery, mate, because you've got a lot to be used. So, right, here we go. Lap 22 of 26. Lewis Curtis forever gaining on Alfioli is Lewis Curtis. Down the straight, I think they are now. I'm just checking on the map. Yep, they are down the straight into the chicane in 1 second. Sondre Sorhaug in a solid P5 as Adam actually goes wide onto the straight as Luke's going to pick up a penalty. I think Jared is going to have an easy pick-in overtake going in. You've got to make a move, Jared. Come on, Jared. He's got to make a move. No bias included as Adam's going to have an absolutely horrendous exit into Stowe and then into the chicane. Here comes Jared Fosbury. He's got to make a move. He's going to go down the inside. Brake later, Jared. Force him off. As he may do the switchback. Jared might do the switchback, but he's going to park it. Adam's going to park it. Jared's going to go on the inside into the last corner. It's never a good idea to go on the inside of the last corner. How have they not made contact? That's crazy. Defence is out. Kevin's going to go around the outside. Kevin around the outside into turn one. He backs out and Jared maintains the position. It's ridiculous scenes. Here at the Silverstone GP, Kevin might have another nibble. The cherry round the outside goes Bottle King though. Bottle King's going to have the inside for the next corner. Kevin's got to concede some room as Bottle King says, give me some room, mate, or I'm going to push you off. Kevin's not going to have the best of exit down out there on the curbing as well. Kevin's going to have an awful run down the straight and Bottle King into P9 so far. It's going to be an absolute drag race to the end of the straight. Who's going to give up? Is it going to be Kevin or is it going to be Bottle King? Kevin around the outside, Bottle King up the inside. He now switches to the inside for Kevin and the outside for Bottle King. Kevin just loves to push his drivers wide. Let's see what he can do. He's not going to push him wide this time because Kevin is going to get the move, but Bottle King loses it. And Kevin maintains 9th position. Oh my God. Ridiculous scenes as I'm going to have to cut to the front because Lewis Curtis, for the 18th time, actually made a bit of a mistake there. Or is it just a different line? He was right on the back of Alfioli. Probably was looking to make a move. And it looked like he just braked slightly later and went too deep into Stoke. And now into the chicane. Lewis Curtis must be getting the... He must hate Honda, because all he can see is Honda at the moment, as these guys have been running on these tyres for 24 laps, may I add as well. So tyre conservation could come into play, as Lewis Curtis is 2.5 tenths of a second behind Alfioli. Look how much later he brakes. He looks so much more confident out on the track as there's yellow flags in the last sector. Somebody's made an error, as it's Bottle King. I think Bottle King's made an error and he's had to pit. I think it might have been a puncture for Bottle King. So Bottle King is out of this race. It's a shame because he had some fantastic battles at the moment. But here we are. We're probably going to have to stay with the front guys if nothing changes down the grid, because the top 4 are separated by maths about 1.5 seconds. We've got Alfioli, who's led from start to finish. We've had Lewis Curtis, who has been in second and capitalised on an opportunity that was squandered by Cam. We have Brandon Glover, who's driven a stellar defence against Lewis Millen, but Lewis Millen looks angry. You know, if this was a Red Bull, it'd definitely be a bull with horns, because Lewis Millen looks so angry. Just every time he gets on the throttle, he loses the car. And Lewis Curtis is now the closest I've ever seen him on Bugatti. Will he make a move into Stone? No. Alfie looks like he's cocked it up a bit though, and here comes Lewis Curtis. Lewis Curtis doesn't get the traction he needs. He looks to go on the inside. No, as MCFC's made a mistake, and he's going to concede the position to Cam. Not Cam. Somebody's made a mistake anyway. Oh, Bottle King. Bottle King's made a mistake and he's going to concede to Cam. But we are on the penultimate lap of the race. Everything seems to have settled down slightly. I know Luke is on the back of, NSR MCFC is on the back of Luke. But these guys at the front are all on the back of each other. We've got Alfioli, also known as Bugatti. We've got Lewis Curtis, also known as Lewis 11004. We've got Brandon Glover, also known as Brandon Glover. We've also got Laggy TM, who's known as Lewis Miller. All duking it out for the final podium places and for the win. One mistake could end it all. One overtake could win it all. It's all or nothing. It's Casino Royale at the moment. Lewis Millen looks really close to Brand. He was less than a tenth for a second there. Lewis Millen is really going for it. He wants it, and so is Lewis Curtis. The AlphaTauri boys were under siege the entire race. Can Lewis Curtis on the penultimate lap of the race do anything to catch Alfioli? Can Lake ETM do anything to get past Brand Glover? We just don't know. He's going to deploy every ounce of his juice to get past Alfioli. Lewis Curtis cannot make a move going into Stowe. He's right on the back of Alfie. He can't make a move going into the hairpin. Neither can Laggy TM. It is stalemate. It's gridlock here in Silverstone in the full wet. There's one lap remaining of the British GP. All these guys are British. They are all at their home race. Any one of them could win the illustrious home GP that they've all been craving. Laggy TM might have to settle for third or even fourth, because I think Brand's just lost too much time behind Lewis Curtis. But anything could happen. A crash, a mistake, anything could happen. Lewis Curtis seems to not be able to bridge the gap between him and Alfie. It's been 0.3 of a second for lap after lap after lap. Alfie has driven a superlative drive up there for the win. this could be one of the greatest defensive performances I've seen in a league racing scene. I know it's difficult to pass in wet weather conditions. I'm taking that into consideration, but the maturity well beyond his years from Alfioli has been sensational. Laggy TM has looked like a raging bull, even though he's in a silver arrow, as his yellow flags in sector 1 as the McLaren makes another mistake. But it is last chance saloon for Lewis Curtis. He is 1/10 of a second behind Alfioli, and he's made a mistake. Lewis Curtis has made a mistake. He's going to come under siege from Brad Glover. There's been contact. There's contact between Brad and Lewis. They're round. Oh my God! Lewis is gone. Lewis is gone. Surely Laggy TM and Brad are on the podium. It's crazy scenes here at Silverstone. Oh my God! Here comes Laggy TM. He's going to have to make a move, surely. Going into the last couple of corners, he's currently third. Could he get snatched second place from Brad Glover? Brad Glover's not even going to make it on the podium because he's got a penalty anyway. So Laggy TM's not going to make it stick, but it's going to be Alfioli who reigns supreme here at Silverstone as he crosses the line to take victory here under the lights, under the rain here in Silverstone. Brad Glover after a fantastic performance, but the penalty cost him and he's not on the podium. For the final few laps, Brad Glover was sensational, but he drops to fourth. Laggy TM takes an illustrious second place that came out of nowhere. And Lewis Curtis, for the second race running, misses out on more than third place due to unfortunate circumstances where he just pushes too hard and ends up with a lovely P3, but it could have been more. Sondre Sorhau comes home for fifth place as well, as Kieran, which is a stellar performance down there in sixth place, came from 15th all the way to 6th. Very good performance. We've got Jared, who finishes the race in 7th, Kevin, who finishes 8th, Gravity, who finishes 9th, Paco, who picks up the final point for Haas. So very, very good performance with his bruised hand, or whatever's happened to your hand, Paco. So well done there, mate. NSR MCFC down there in 11th, and Toxic Tomato. Oh, he's going to cross the line now. His heart must have sank. Oh my God. Wow. I can't believe it. Driver of the day goes to Kieran. Oh, wow. It's normally driver of the day who I bring to the commentary box, but I think the top 4 have to all be my driver of the day for such a fantastic battle and performance from all of them. I'm going to include Bran in the podium interviews because I need to have a word with him just about his performance. The penalty cost him, but he drove superb. I think Kieran got lucky with the safety cars. He did drive a fantastic race, but I think him having assists on as well makes it slightly easier for him. But yeah, wow. Alfioli takes all the plaudits as he wins the British Grand Prix from Laggy TM. And oh, wow. I can't get over it. Here is your final results. As I said, from second, but he led every single lap from the first corner. It's Alfioli. Laggy TM takes P2 as well on P4. Got Lewis Curtis from P3 finishes P3. Got Bran a solid P4. Could have been more without that penalty, and he knows it. Sondre Sorhaug, 5th from 6th. Can't be too disappointed in that. 15th to 6th from Kieran. Very good performance from him, but I think he did get helped out quite a lot. Solid from Jared as well, again in the points with 7th from a grid spot of 8th. Kevin, 16th to 8th. Nothing to sniff at. Fantastic performance with Gravity, 9th to 9th. Not too bad. And with Paco, 10th to 10th. Wow, we're going to have a minute interval just to get the drivers into the podium interviews, but just take a minute, viewers, because that is one of the best races in the wet I've ever watched in recent time. I'm in shock. I'm trying to get all my questions ready just to give everybody a chance to think. But wow, crazy scenes. As I'm just going to add people to the party. So give me 1 second. There'll be an interval right now, so we'll have a 2-minute break while I get everybody involved into the commentary, and then as soon as everybody's in, we'll have a chat. So give me 1 to 2 minutes, bit of a time lapse. All right, so welcome back, guys. I'm with the top three, and also it was a very inclusive driver of the day. It was all of you, but I thought I'd add Brand to the mix as well because it was just the penalty that cost him. We will start off with the race winner. He takes all the plaudits at his home GP. And I remember him saying he's going to do really bad. So a bit of a shock to see him up here, I guess. Just to introduce yourself, it's Mr. Alfie. How you feeling, mate?
Very good, doing the British people proud. And I'm feeling #blessed that the rain came.
It was a full race throughout the entirety of the session. Obviously, you kept your nerve. You led from corner 1 till the final corner of lap 26. Just talk us through how did you do it? Because obviously no pit stops during the race as well. So just talk us through your strategy and how you kept Lewis, Bran, Cam and Laggy TM all behind you.
Well, the pad starts really saved me. Got the jump on Cam, and then my pace wasn't even that good. I think I was probably one of the slowest out of everyone, but because it's the wet and there was no DRS, no one could overtake me. So I just had to fend off Lewis after the safety car restart, and then, they took care of themselves on the last lap, so it was an easy ride into the sunset.
Yeah, no sunsets at the British Grand Prix with all the rain, but I know what you mean. It was a brilliant performance. Every lap, Lewis was a tenth, 2 tenths. He was sniffing your gearbox throughout the whole race, and you kept your nerve. I actually did bank on you for the race win, so I will take credit for that. So, fantastic performance from you, Alfie. I will come back to you at the end as well, just to celebrate. But we will move on to second place. Didn't finish there on track, but was very quick nonetheless. I believe the Cam stole the fastest lap, but in race circumstances, you got the fastest lap. It's Laggy TM. So welcome back. How are you feeling, mate?
Tired, pretty. It was stressful. Constantly have to concentrate all the time. But yeah, it was a good race. Got stuck behind that U-boat in front of me. I felt like I was quicker and everything into the corners and stuff. But every time we just got on the power, it was just so much. It was just so much more confident, and he just pulled away. So it didn't matter what I did. No matter where I tried to put him on the track, you just couldn't overtake, and it was pretty much the same for everyone else. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty good. The pace was there, so good to see.
Yeah, it was similar circumstances to Lewis and Alfie, where through Maggots and Beckett's, you were 2 tenths of a second behind the Aston Martin of Bran, and then as soon as Chapel came, you just lost the time. You just couldn't seem to keep with him through that section of the track, and unfortunately. Obviously, the pen came into place, so it didn't really matter too much. But unfortunately, you were, for the majority of the race, behind him. I will ask you quickly, there was a pit stop opportunity halfway through the race. Was there any doubt in the mind that the pit stop could have been the better strategy, or was it always stay out?
I did debate it, but then I looked at my tyre and at the time it was on like 11 and 13%. I think it was lap 10, was it? The safety car came out. Mm-hmm. So I just thought I'd rather... I weighed it out, and there wouldn't have been any massive benefit, especially not being able to overtake. Track position was king today, so yeah, but I decided to stay out.
Yeah, well, like I say, congratulations on the P2. We'll come back to you at the end as well to discuss. But P3, Mr. Lewis Curtis, just make sure obviously your voice is all on share. I imagine you guys do have it on. We need to have a talk, mate, because you were looking very, very feisty that whole race. I've never seen a Ferrari so fast since 2019 with the illegal engine. So, you were really driving well there. Just tell us your thoughts. I know there was a bit of a mishap on the final lap, but just tell us how you're feeling, and congratulations on the P3.
Well, I just hate the rain now, because I believe I was quicker than Alfie majority of the race, but every time we got close, and the rain just kept dropping me back. And it was just a train by Horace.
No, yeah, I was going to say, you summed it up quite well. The train, the whole race, a multicoloured rainbow train. It was quite nice. Were you shocked at Cam? I know he made a mistake earlier in the race, which gifted you P2, but were you shocked that he spun? Because I know it wasn't a shock to me. Put it that way.
It wasn't a shock to me. It was in the wet. He's a Silverstone merchant, so he was going to drive quick, and he bended it because he was trying to get past me. Pushing
Wow.
too hard.
Fucking hell.
That's some strong words from Mr. Curtis. And obviously, last thing I'll come to you with, pit stop, same scenario as Millum. Was the pit stop ever on the cards at all? Or did you know in your head, nah, there's no need to pit. I'm focusing on Alfie. I've got to try and get past him.
Well, I was going to pit until people mentioned it on 10%, so I checked my tyre wear and I was on like 15, so I thought I don't need to pit, so I just stayed out.
Was there any thought of maybe a puncture at the end, or the tyre's fine?
No, it was like lap 10 of me on 15%, so just guess I'd go to the end.
Fair enough. Well, congratulations on a P3. I will come back to you at the end. And obviously, it's a very inclusive driver of the day, but I thought I would add the fourth place man. Missed out by 3 seconds due to a penalty. But here you are, Bran. Talk us through your race.
Well, I got a good start. I think I got up to fourth. And I just had Lewis behind me. You know, he was stuck behind me. Went for a few moves. You know, elbows were out, elbows were out. And yeah, it was just a train. You couldn't overtake, really, unless you were really close. I mean, I was telling Lewis Curtis to go for the move at the end, but he was bottling it. And then obviously he made a mistake. And absolutely parks it on the racing line, on the unsafe rejoin, in my opinion. And then, as Senna said, if you don't go for a gap that exists, you're not a racing driver. So I had to go for it, and Lewis just sort of, I don't know, just turned in a bit, and that was about it, really.
No, it was a jam-packed race. I tried to capture every minute of possible action I could. I was losing my voice, I still am, even now. I know you had a very stressful race with the Mercedes. It was more like a Red Bull with horns behind you the entire race, more than a Silver Arrow. But just tell us the strategy, because I think you were probably the driver who was the most defensive out of the top guys. As you said, big, broad shoulders and elbows out for the entire race, making that Aston Martin as wide as possible. But just tell us, what were the tactics to keep Lewis behind? Because it was very defensive display.
It was just not make a mistake, because if you make a mistake, that's it, really. But I was confident if I didn't make a mistake, I'll keep him behind, because it's very rare he only had like 2 opportunities the whole race to get past me. But other than that, it was just impossible. So that was it, really. Just make sure I was concentrating, not making any mistakes. That was about it.
Well, I think you're probably the only person I'm going to say this to, but commiserations on not getting a podium, because it was worthy of a podium drive. It was really, really good. I will come back to Alfie for the final question, which is next week, Monaco. How are you feeling about Monaco? Because there's a lot of speculation around the calendar, and that Monaco is even included on the calendar. Some people even say that it's the worst track on the calendar. So what are your opinions, Alfie? I'll come to you first.
Well, if I thought I was going to do bad at Silverstone, I think I'm going to do really bad at Monaco. I cannot drive that track to save my life, especially with no line. I might have to adjust the situation. But who knows? I'm not expecting a lot.
Well, you said the same thing last week, and look where we are now. So anything can happen in Monaco. I think it would be a similar defensive display as well if you were on pole. Millum, what are you thinking of Monaco? Being a wheel user yourself, maybe it might be a bit easier.
I love Monaco. I love it. As long as I don't get stuck behind some green cucumber for the whole race, I can't wait. So, hopefully good things to come from that, provided I don't put it in the wall.
All right, short and sweet, I like it. Lewis Curtis, Monaco, thoughts?
Good chat.
All right, fair enough. Good chat from Lewis. Bran, Monaco, thoughts?
People call me a Monaco merchant, so hopefully that'll be a good chat for me. Yeah.
There you go. Well, that's everything that I've got to offer for the race. You've heard the strategies, you've heard the opinions, you've heard the best drivers on the day talk in the podium interviews. We've got Monaco next week. It will be myself, so join me next week for another 2 hour, I think it's even past 2 hours now, past 2 hour stream, where we get another driver's opinions at the start of the race, and also we get the podium interviews and driver of the day at the end. So I've been Lordy MK. Congratulations to everybody here in the party for a fantastic Silverstone race in the wet as well. I wasn't expecting much. And also congratulations to Alfie, the king of Silverstone. today. But yeah, join me next week for Monaco. And see you later. Take care and goodbye.